You're staring at the part list for your RZT S42 and wondering if swapping in a new motor is the right move, or if you're just going to throw another $200 into a repair that still won't fix the issues you've been having. That hesitation makes sense. Zero-turn mowers aren't cheap, and a motor replacement is a pretty big ask. You don't want to end up with a part that sits in the garage collecting dust while you're still battling uneven cuts or a mower that stalls mid-run. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break it down the way a homeowner would when the mower's deck just isn't pulling its weight anymore. The 92404140/72404140 deck motor is marketed as a direct replacement for the original 48-volt motor that came with the RZT S42. That direct replacement claim is the first thing to verify, because it tells you whether you'll need extra adapters, new wiring harnesses, or a different battery pack. In this case, the part numbers line up exactly with the factory spec, so you can pull the old motor out, bolt the new one in, and reconnect the same connectors. No custom brackets, no extra hardware, just a straightforward swap. For someone who's comfortable with a basic wrench set and a bit of elbow grease, that simplicity is a real time saver. Who should actually consider this motor? If you own the RZT S42 and the existing motor is showing signs of wear, like a loss of torque when you hit thicker grass, a humming sound that never quite goes away, or intermittent stalling, this is the part that can bring the mower back to its original performance envelope. It's also a good option for anyone who's already replaced a busted controller or battery and is looking to keep the whole powertrain on the same voltage level. Because it's a 48-volt unit, it won't work with the newer 60-volt or 80-volt kits that some people upgrade to for extra cutting power. If you're planning a battery upgrade, you'll need to look at a motor that matches that higher voltage. On the flip side, if you're not comfortable with a DIY motor swap, or if the mower's issues extend beyond the motor, say the deck is bent, the blades are out of balance, or the transmission shows wear, you might end up fixing the symptom rather than the cause. In those cases, you could spend money on a brand new motor and still be left with a mower that doesn't cut straight or that jerks when you turn. The motor itself is only one piece of a larger system, so make sure you've ruled out other common failure points before you order. Now, let's talk about practical strengths. First, the motor's 48-volt rating matches the stock battery that ships with the RZT S42. That means you won't need to recalibrate the mower's control board or worry about mismatched voltage that could cause the controller to overheat. Second, the construction is listed as high quality, which in this context usually translates to a cast aluminum housing and sealed bearings that can tolerate the moisture and debris you encounter in a typical lawn. Users who have swapped similar motors on other brands often report that the motor runs cooler after a few hours of use, simply because the new bearings reduce internal friction. Third, because it's a direct replacement, you keep the original mounting points and the same blade height adjustments. That means you don't have to relearn any new handling quirks. The mower feels the same, just with restored power. There are some trade-offs you should be aware of before you click Add to Cart. The motor is designed specifically for the RZT S42 deck, so the bolt pattern, shaft length, and connector shape are all unique to that model. If you have a similar-looking zero-turn mower but a different deck number, this part won't bolt on without modification. The price point is modest compared to buying a whole new mower, but it isn't cheap enough to be a just-throw-it-away part either. That middle ground means you need to be reasonably sure the motor is the culprit. Also, because it's a 48-volt motor, the torque curve is calibrated for the original battery's discharge rate. If your battery is older and can't sustain the same amperage, you might notice the mower feeling a little sluggish right after you install the new motor, even though the motor itself is fine. In that scenario, the fix isn't the motor but the battery. A real-world scenario that illustrates the value: imagine you've got a patch of tall, thick fescue on the north side of the yard. Your mower used to breeze through it, but lately it's been bogging down, the deck motor humming louder, and the cut ends up uneven. You pull the old motor, see obvious wear on the windings, and replace it with the 92404140. After a couple of passes, the mower returns to a steady RPM, the deck spins smoothly, and the cut is as clean as it was when the mower was new. You didn't have to replace the entire drive system, you